One of the most common mistakes that I see people make when they're playing a match, especially when it's in, let's say, competition, a tournament, is that they are, during the match, they are trying to work in their ground stroke, in the forehand or the backhand. Whatever is not working, they're trying actually to work on it technically. Um, the idea is that when we train, that's when you are going to be working technically, okay, and also strategically, okay, and that's when you work physically on the ground strokes, but you work a lot. You work really really hard mentally because you're trying to find the solution to if whatever you're working on isn't turning out the way you want, then that's a time when you say, okay, I have to really pay attention to it. Whether you have to video yourself, or if you're trying, you changing something to your ground strokes, that's a time when you have to go out there and hit plenty of balls, a lot, spend a good time practicing. So you put everything in the practice, like Michael Jordan's trainer, Tim Glover. He's a guy that trained Michael Jordan. He trained Shaquille O'Neal. He trained Kobe Bryant. He traveled for 15 years with Kobe Bryant, and this is the guy that he was not hired by the Chicago Bulls or the Lakers to work with these guys. These guys, they hire him a part of the training that they did with their teams, to help them in like during the off season, to say, okay, I gotta become faster, I want to become stronger, or I need to work how to prevent injuries and my legs or shoulders or whatever. So this guy Tim Grover, if you can look for, he's an exceptional trainer that you can look for his books. He has a book called Relentless, and he has another one called Winning that just came out and is really good too. So what Tim Grover says is that Michael Jordan, he and Kobe Bryant, those guys, they will go and train, and they will overthink and think so much during the training. So by the time they will go to the game, they didn't have to think anymore, because whatever they wanted to fix, it was already fixed. It was already working the way they wanted. So he said you have to go out there and do a lot of thinking first, and obviously you have to do a lot of moving, work, getting in shape, and really put a lot of work mentally and physically when you train. So by the time you go and compete, by the time you play, your game is just gonna come out naturally. Of course, it's easier, saying it than doing it. But that's the idea, that if you really dedicate good time to train something, let's say your forehand or your backhand or your service, the idea is that you get to the point where you program it so well in your body, and it creates so well the muscle memory that by the time you get to the competition, what you want to do is, your mind has to be pretty much blank, and you just gonna let your body, relax and react, and play the game, react to the shots without thinking, without judging, without having the frontal lobe trying to take care, trying to control the game. That's one thing that I notice a lot of times when I go out there and I see people that they're playing, and in the middle of a match they're trying to figure out. I mean, I think we have all been through the same. What's going on with my game? And many times, something that as a I'm talking about personal experience, as that 99% of the times when I was wondering what is going on with my game, 99% of the times it was, I am getting in the way of my game. I'm trying to control it. Pretty much is just trying to control, instead of trying to relax and say, okay, you know what? Just try to remember what you've been doing in practice. The first thing you gotta do is you gotta relax your body and say, okay, what have I been doing that I was hitting the ball so well? The very first thing that people let let something get in the way, and that is the desire to control the game. When you're trying to control your forehand or your service, or any stroke, you're pretty much not allowing your body to work. You're not letting the body say, okay, you already know what to do, go out there and do your stuff. You're getting in the way. You're trying to control it. You're becoming the parent that is trying to teach his kid to walk when you cannot do it. I mean, the baby has to get up and do it by himself and fall, and from those falls he's going to learn. And as you're trying to learn, you're just getting in the way of the baby. You're getting in the way of your body. You're trying to control. So that's when they say it's the frontal lobe being logical and trying to control, and which is pretty. The frontal lobe is pretty stupid trying to learn. It's not very fast. Instead of letting the hind mind brain, which is in the back, which is the one that works as programming. That's the one that works, that has learned how to walk, how to ride a bike, how to drive your car, and all those things that we don't really have to think about it. So pay attention when you're playing. First thing, you want to pay attention when you're practicing. That's when you want to do a lot of thinking and a lot of moving. So by the time you go out there, and when you set foot on the court, and it's a competition, you have to pretty much close your eyes and say, okay, I'm gonna let loose no matter what happens. I'm just gonna swing away the way I've been doing it in practice. Swinging away doesn't mean that you're gonna go out there all guns blazing. That just means that you're just gonna do it in a natural way. If you get out of the way, you have a pretty good chance that you're gonna play well. But the moment that when you let stress and overthinking getting in the way, you're letting the logical part of your mind get in the way of the game, and that's when things are gonna start going downhill, because it's trying to control. You have to learn to trust your body. But again, the key of if I say there is one thing that we have to get out of this video is that when like the best athletes in the world say, like Jordan and Barkley and Brian, they say you go out there, and when you train, you overthink. That's the time to overthink. That's to put a lot of thought on what you're doing, on how you're going to improve that stroke. That's the time to put a lot of time on the thinking and the practicing. And once you're done with that, once you have done it, then you're going to go out there and say, okay, now it's time to compete. It's time to trust and just let go. All right? Okay, guys. Well, I hope it helps, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.